Reimagining Chapel. My name is Amanda Esco, and I am the director of the Religious Education Program here at First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City. Thank you for being here today. It is Mother's Day weekend here in the United States, a time when we celebrate the people who care for us in many different ways. Now, also, we've got a new month, and our theme for this month in religious education is story. So this month, we're going to be looking at multiple ways that stories play into our lives. So from the stories of our families, to the stories of our church, like last week with Reverend Tom, to the stories in our community. These are just how we create our world and our vision as people. As long as time has gone on, people have created stories about their world. So we're going to look more into that this month. First though, let's light our chalice. I have mine right here. Do you have yours at home? If you do, go run and grab it, pause the video first, and then come light your chalice with me. Lighting our chalice is a ritual that we do to begin each of our worship services in Unitarian Universalist communities throughout our country and world. Symbol of light, symbol of knowledge, symbol of warmth, symbol of freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. Well, I don't know about you, but while we're in spring, I'm getting excited for summer. What do you have planned as a family? What are you going to be able to do now that some of our things that we've done this past year are able to change? You know, my family is probably still going to stay pretty quiet, but we're excited to do small trips and camping this summer. How about you all? School is ending soon, and you can just feel the buzz in the air in our community. Now, religious education is also ending our small group classes at the end of this month. Reimagining Chapel, though, on YouTube, will continue through Father's Day weekend. Wow, let's take a minute and ground ourselves. I have my singing bowl here. Now, I want you to stand up if you're able, or sit down, but make sure your toes are touching the ground, or you can ground yourself somehow. We're going to take a couple meditative breaths to settle ourselves in this space. Are you ready? I'm going to tap the bowl, and I want you, before I tap the bowl, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, and then as I tap the bowl, I want you to breathe out slowly through your mouth. Are you ready to join me? All right, deep breath in through our nose. Let's do that 2 more times. Deep breath in through our nose. Last time. Deep breath in through your nose. These 3 simple breaths slow our bodies and our minds down. It is so important to slow down. When we slow down, we can find the space in our spirits to make space for new things, to make space for change, to make space for growth, to make space for what's coming next. And in this season, we are looking forward to so many things that are coming next. But first, we need to stop, take a breath, and slow down. This is an important spiritual practice which we can all participate in. I know that I've needed to breathe more recently. How about you? Well, part of another spiritual practice that we love to do is to share what's on our hearts and minds. Let's take a moment to share our joys and concerns with the people that are with you, that love you so. I'll be right here waiting for you when you're done. Thanks for sharing your joys and concerns with people that love you, that want to hear from you. Now, this week's UU of the Week is a proper Bostonian lady who I can't wait to share her history with you. Get ready for this week's UU of the Week. This Sunday in the United States is Mother's Day, a day set aside to honor the people who mother and care for us, which was not the intention at all by the holiday's founder, Julia Ward Howe. I'm sorry, I said her name all wrong. In order to say her name appropriately, you need to pretend that you are a feisty writer, abolitionist, suffragette, anti-war activist, believer in temperance, proper Bostonian lady who was also a Unitarian. You've got to say it like this: Julia Ward Howe, with all that identity behind it. Born in 1819, Julia received the very best education. She learned French, Italian, and German, and was able to read Latin and Greek easily. Julia was, as described at the time, high-spirited. Her mother died early in her life, and she lost her father by the time she was 20. While alive, her father threw himself into caring for his children, and as a strict Calvinist, lifted up those values to his children. Being a reader, though, her liberal views didn't sit well with her father's Calvinist faith. She was given a copy of William Ellery Channing's sermons, met Ralph Waldo Emerson, and attended lectures with Margaret Fuller, and found out she was a Unitarian, actually, all this time. Around then, she met Samuel Howe. Samuel was an educator of children with severe disabilities. Right away, though, Julia saw that this marriage would be a trial. Samuel wanted a wife to adore him and support his work. Julia wanted her independence. Their marriage would never be a peaceable one. By 1848, Julia had 2 different anthologies published, much to her husband's dismay. She edited journals and contributed social and literary criticism. In 1854, she published a book of poetry under a pen name, but of course, everyone in her social circles knew it was her. It was a book filled with poetry, reflecting the experiences of women and domestic unhappiness. Her husband was livid, and the couple was on the brink of divorce. They stayed together, however, for the familiar reason of their children. Julia called it the greatest sacrifice that she would ever be called to make. She continued to write, however, poetry, plays, and essays. At this time, the nation was on the brink of the Civil War. Her friend, Reverend Theodore Parker, invited her to meet with an abolitionist group, and she began to work with the Sanitary Commission in support of Union forces. Traveling to the battle lines with her own minister, James Freeman Clark, they encountered fierce fighting. Inspired by the day's events, Clark encouraged her to write new lyrics to a song that the troops were currently singing. Staying up all night, not wanting to wake up her sleeping children, she wrote the Battle Hymn of the Republic, which was published in 1862. After the war, Julia became close with another rabble-rousing set of Unitarian, the suffragists. Along with Lucy Soane, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Susan B. Anthony, they were leading the charge for women's suffrage. Quote, "The new domain now made clear to me was that of true womanhood. Woman no longer in her ancillary relation to her opposite, man, but in her direct relation to the divine plan and purpose, as a free agent, fully sharing with man every human right and every human responsibility." The work of women's suffrage would be her life's work for the rest of her days. Imbued with her new feminist thought, she was disgusted with the barbarism of the Franco-Prussian War sweeping through Europe. She led a one-woman campaign, starting with writing a Mother's Day proclamation for a women's peace conference in London. Back in Boston, she initiated Mother's Peace Day as a call to action for families. The holiday has evolved far from her intentions, although I have yet to find a mother that wants her children in needless war and conflict in our world. Julia held the very first convention for women ministers, including Unitarians and Universalists, like Eliza Tupper Wilkes, the elder sister of our first female minister at First Church, Mila Tupper Maynard. By this time, Julia was preaching on her own, with her husband, now resigned to her advocacy. Samuel died in 1876, with the couple finally finding peace with one another. In 1908, she was the first woman elected into the American Academy of Arts and Letters. In her final years, women would visit her, seeking her advice. She would tell them, "Study Greek, my dear. It's better than a diamond necklace." Julia Ward Howe died on October 17, 1910. To find more histories of Unitarian and Universalist figures throughout history, please visit us at uuoftheweek.org. Let's see what's inside our Wonder Box. Remember, this month we're looking at the idea of story. Maybe what's in our Wonder Box has something to do with this. Look, it is picture books from my own family. The first stories we create as small humans is usually about our families. In these books are pictures of trips, of school, our dogs, and church. The images make up the stories from my family's daily life. Now, while my family's stories may be similar to yours, each family is special and unique. We all have our own individual books to pull stories and memories and history from. I have another book to share with you about the stories of our families. It's called A Family is a Family is a Family. A Family is a Family is a Family. Written by Sarah O'Leary, illustrated by Quinn Lang. We were talking about families at school. The teacher asked us what we thought made our family special. I went last because I wasn't sure what to say. My family is not like everybody else's. My mom and dad have been best friends since first grade. They really like each other. It's kind of gross. There are lots of kids in our family. Mom and dad just keep coming home with more. Both my moms are terrible singers, and they both like to sing really loudly. I have more grandparents than anybody else I know. We have a new baby in our house. I think my mom ordered it online. We all look alike in my family. We just kind of go together. One week, Mom gets me. The next week, Dad does. Fair's fair. Some people say I look like my dad, and some people say I look like my mom. I think I look like myself. My mom says that before I was born, I grew in her heart. Because I live with my grandmother, people sometimes think she's my mother. She's not. She's my everything. Some of the kids were dads when he met Mom. Some were moms when she met Dad. Now we all belong to each other. One of my dads is tall and one is short. They both give good hugs. I listened to everybody else, and then I remembered the time someone saw us all together at the park. She asked my foster mother to point out her real children. "Oh, I don't have any imaginary children," Mom said. "All of my children are real." A family is a family is a family. Our families are all different and beautiful. The configurations of our families may be different. We like different things. Sometimes we don't even live together. The roots of our families are a bit like the roots of our faith, grounded in love for one another. The stories we create exemplify that love. This week, honor the stories of our families rooted in love. Thank you for joining us for Reimagining Chapel. To find out more information about the First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City, please visit us at slcuu.org. But until next time, let's heart out.
One, each person is important. Two, be kind in all you do. Three, help each other learn. Four, and search for what is true. Five, all people have a say.